What's going on, everyone? Let's go for a drive and let's talk about Bitcoin. All right, so in case y'all haven't noticed, gas prices are a little crazy. Am I right? Yeah, well, it's not just gas prices. It's everything. But when I say it's not just gas prices, I don't just mean it is literally everything, although it is kind of everything. Inflation is crazy, and that's why we have Bitcoin. But specifically energy. There is a lot of issues going on with our energy stuff. And right now, it's mainly showing up in gas. But I'm talking about electricity as well. So I'm going to go into that a little bit. And then I'm going to tie it all up with what this has to do with what I think is going to happen to Bitcoin. And unfortunately, I think this is a little bigger than expensive stuff. Because that sounds like first world problem sort of deal, right? That's not what I'm talking about. In fact, I'm actually talking about first world countries looking like third world countries. Yeah, that's actually what I'm talking about. But maybe not to that extreme extent. Maybe just in certain neighborhoods, things will get like that. But economically speaking, well, we need to pay attention because I have this feeling that there's a good chance that there is a black swan event on the way this year. In fact, I think it's already started. Now, if you don't know what a black swan event is, I just mean like it's something that you can't predict and it just throws off all your predictions in every area, particularly finance, right? It means that this thing showed up out of nowhere. The last major black swan event was, you know it, 2020, the pandemic or whatever, or pandemic. I'm not going to disrespect anybody's views, but we all know. we all know what happened, okay? Or at least we know it wasn't, and we're pretty sure. I don't want to be making claims that I can't substantiate, but I feel like we are pretty sure that it wasn't completely an accident. And it's funny that I mentioned that because I'm feeling a similar way about this energy crisis that we are in right now. So let me explain just a little bit. First of all, obviously this war in Iran is affecting energy. It's affecting oil prices everywhere, in every country, okay? It's not just the U.S. that's getting hit. Everywhere. Everybody's getting hit by this. And third world countries, or just like not first world countries, they are getting hit hard right now. Like, we don't even realize how bad it is. But there's a really, really big problem that not enough people are talking about. At least I don't think so. It's not just that things are expensive right now. It's that the issues that are being caused by this war, well, they're not going to go away. So here's the thing. I brought up the last major black swan event that took place, right? What was it? Well, that big old sickness that, hit everybody and shut everything down. You realize that we're still feeling the effects of that, right? Like now in 2026, 6 years after it started, you could argue maybe 4 years after it ended fully. Although I think it ended in 2021 and people were trying to keep it going, but that's whatever. But we're still feeling it. We're like, businesses are still shutting down because they can't keep going because of how much they were financially shook during that time. So that's just, that's 6 years down the road. We're talking for this year, we're going to feel some earth-shaking effects from this war on the economy. In other words, whatever financial strain you're feeling right now because of energy costs, expect it to increase. Expect it to increase. Don't be caught off guard. Don't be surprised that your energy costs are going up, because I'm telling you right now, they will. I'm not making a prediction. I am telling you what the experts are saying, not because they're observing statistics that say, oh, this is likely. No. They are observing the event. The Black Swan event is happening right now. The energy crisis is happening. The oil shortages have begun. It's not a matter of this could happen or might happen. It's a matter of it is happening, to the point where certain places in the world are rationing energy through various means. One way is they're literally limiting the household use of electricity. Another way is they're forcing people to stay off the streets. There's curfews, because if you're not out and about, then you're not driving your vehicle and you're not using gas, and you're not going to restaurants and businesses, so they don't have to be open, so they're not using energy. This is going to be the next reality for us that we're going to be walking into, and people really aren't ready for it. All right, now I'm not saying it's going to be the end of the world, although you never know. Could be. But I want to tie this into, how does this affect Bitcoin? Because obviously this is going to be a sign of economic downturn, severely, right? And I know I said this is just like a Black Swan event that already took place. So what people are going to say is, well, if we want to know what's going to happen to Bitcoin's price, well, let's just look at what happened in 2020. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't even bother to take a look before making this video, just to see, what exactly the price action was, because I actually wasn't even into Bitcoin yet at that time. Again, that was a long time ago. But I have bad news. The bad news is you can't really look at Bitcoin from that time to figure out what it's going to do during this time. We always say past performance is no guarantee of future outcome. That is true. But this is especially true in this circumstance because a lot of things have changed. For one, people assume that Bitcoin is still on a 4-year cycle like it was at that time. That's kind of true, but not entirely, and that's a whole different conversation to be had. I'm of the camp and the opinion that at least partially, Bitcoin is no longer in its 4-year cycle. At least partially. Or at the very least, its cycle got sped up, the timing is off, however you want to look at it. I shouldn't say the timing is off, but it's different. It is different. The timing ended up being very similar, but it just didn't feel like it was right. Even for newer Bitcoiners, something felt off about it, and there's a lot of, and not just feelings, there's a lot of statistics and stuff. Mainly this. Wall Street, as in big finance and smart money, they are all up in Bitcoin now. Okay, they're all up in there, which means they are now most of the biggest players in Bitcoin, which means now their decisions heavily influence the price of Bitcoin in the market. And these are the same people who, when they see economic downturn, they don't care about principles of assets as much as they care about their portfolio. So they will sell the asset with plans to buy it later. That's just what they do. Bitcoiners, or at least, people who are maximalists, or at the very least hardcore, crypto bros or whatever, they don't think like that. They look at the asset for what it is and they go, oh, this is why I'm investing in this thing. And so they hunker down through downturns, whatever. At least, people are learning to in the crypto community, or at least in the Bitcoin community. I won't speak for all of crypto because there's a lot of coins out there that you should not hold on to. But people hold on to Bitcoin in the Bitcoin community. But big finance, they don't do that. They don't hold it just cause. They will let it go happily, with the intention of most likely hopping in after it's finished doing its dip so they can make a profit. And guess what? They're going to make a profit later. They're going to let it rise, and then they're going to sell it again. They don't care about the asset itself. They just want profit in US dollars. So what do I think could happen if a major economic storm hits and there's this black swan event that knocks out energy everywhere? Yeah, I think there's going to be a really big sell-off of Bitcoin. Or I shouldn't say I think that there's a high chance of a major sell-off in Bitcoin. A very high chance. Is that going to be the end of Bitcoin? Absolutely not. Especially since I'm not selling. I'm not selling my coins. Are you kidding me? Worked way too hard for this. Plus, I understand you don't need to make decisions with your Bitcoin with the short term in mind. You always want to think long term, because Bitcoin's long term growth has always outpaced everything else every time. So it's really foolish to sell Bitcoin out of fear. Now, if you want to do what Wall Street does and you want to sell it high so that you can buy back in low, that's totally up to you. I will just say that I don't like playing games with my Bitcoin. It's effectively my family's retirement savings. Effectively, I say. I mean, this isn't financial advice by any stretch of the imagination. And people will laugh at that. Oh, yeah, I understand. People will laugh at that. But I laugh at people who pay other people to do their finances for them when you can just learn how to do it yourself. That's just me. So, I mean, we can all laugh at each other for doing different things. But basically what I'm getting at is I believe it has proven itself to be a long-term asset, not a short-term asset. So if you're going to make decisions with it of trying to make a short-term gain, which I have tried, and what I've found is it's so similar to gambling. It really is. It just is, because it is very volatile, and it's a strength of Bitcoin right now is its volatility, but not when you're trying to make money off of it like that. So so my personal recommendation is don't play games with your Bitcoin. It's too precious to play around with it, to play hot potato. Like, hold on to it, treat it like what it's worth, which is $1 million. I mean, it's just, whether you have a whole coin or a tenth of a coin, it doesn't matter. It's still worth $1 million. The only difference is time frame. The only difference is your level of patience. So what am I here to say? I'm here to say that there's really high likelihood of there being serious economic downturn this year. And if and when that happens, do I know what's going to happen to Bitcoin? Absolutely not. The opposite of what I'm saying could happen. It could pump for some reason. There could be some push into hard assets as a type of hedge, and it could rise drastically. That could certainly happen. But I don't know that would happen before a dip anyway. I think a dip would have to happen first, whether the dip is really big or it's just, a minor dip. But then big money will look at the dip and say, okay, there's my discount. I'm going to hop in while I can. And that's going to cause people to pile in. And we'll see what happens with the supply of Bitcoin going down every day. So, I mean, yeah, we don't know what could happen, but I want you to be prepared mentally and emotionally for something that drastic, especially since it's not just going to affect your Bitcoin, it's going to affect your entire life. And that can really mess with people. So I just want you guys to be prepared. Whoever can hear the sound of my voice, this is me just telling you, hey, this is probably going to happen. We should survive. We should be okay. But if you get scared by it and you sell out just cause, then you got played. That's really what I'm saying is if you get rid of your Bitcoin just because you got scared, you got played. Okay? Don't sell your Bitcoin just because, or any investment that you've made. Don't get, I don't want to say any investment. If you made a risky investment, yeah, now is probably a good time to get out of risky investments. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, if you didn't already because of the war, you probably should sooner rather than later get out of the more risky things. And I know people are going to say, well, Bitcoin's super risky, but again, not in the long term. In the long term, it's actually very low risk. It's in the short term that it can be riskier to be trying to make a quick buck. Don't try to make a quick buck by putting money into Bitcoin. This is not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Basically, I don't put money into Bitcoin. One, that I'm not afraid to lose, and two, that I'm willing to leave untouched for a long period of time. I am happy to leave that money alone. And third, that you're willing to let fluctuate in value. When I look at my Bitcoin stack, I don't look at the dollar value. I look at the Bitcoin value. And guess what? It doesn't change unless you add to it or you take away from it. It's completely in your control. And that's how you have a long-term view on Bitcoin. I've been meaning to say that in the video, so I'm sorry that it just happened at the 16-minute mark here in this video of just basically saying, don't view your Bitcoin stack through the lens of the US dollar. View it as it is, as Bitcoin. If you have 0.1 Bitcoin, don't say, oh, I've only got, what would that be right now? So 70. Oh, I've got $7,700. No, instead say, oh, I've got 1/10 of a whole coin, or just say, I've got 0.1 Bitcoin, and then you do the math and say, well, what's that going to be worth when Bitcoin hits $10 million? Oh, that's going to be kind of nice. 10th of 10 million. Oh, that's $1 million. Hey, that's pretty cool. You see how it changes your perspective. So when you have that kind of perspective, this stuff doesn't scare you as far as like thinking, oh, should I sell my Bitcoin? No, because it's going to make you a millionaire in depending on how much you have, but not that much is going to make you a millionaire in less than 10 years. Why on earth would you sell it? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. So, there you go. That's my tidbit for today. Do not sell your Bitcoin. It's just my advice, but this is not financial advice. Entertainment, education purposes only, and a good dose of hopium to make a little bit of sugar to make the medicine go down, because the downturn is probably on its way. But I'll be here to go through it with y'all. So in the meantime, with that spare change that you've got, get out there, go stack some sats, go get some Bitcoin, because you need to do it right now.